Hey, welcome to the iProv vlog. As always, I'm Jordan Smith, VP of Sales and Marketing with iProv, and I've got my very talented co-host, Patrick Laughlin, COO with iProv. What's up, Pat? How are you?
What's up, Joe? I'm doing great. How are you?
Another week. We survived, or so far.
Yeah, man. Always.
Hey, today we want to talk about something that we do a lot of and we take very seriously. We thought this would be a good topic. So this kind of idea of looking backwards before you move forward and give people kind of direction within the company about moving forward. So really this idea of being deliberate about a company retrospective every so often with all of your employees.
Yeah. So we use an Agile methodology to the way that we process our work. And anybody who's not familiar with sort of the philosophy of Agile, Google it. It's worth your time, especially if you do any sort of process-driven work. It comes from lean manufacturing, that comes from Toyota Production System, but the sort of key component, or one of the key components of it, is this idea that you have a regular retrospective, because what you're ultimately trying to build is a culture of continuous improvement. Lots of companies that are sort of led in an authoritative way, or that are very top-down leadership, it's do it my way or the highway. And I guess that works for some companies. It was never a culture I wanted to be a part of. It was certainly not the way that I wanted to lead. And I don't think it was, a way that you wanted to lead either. Was it, Joe?
No, and it wasn't a good way to keep talent either. I mean, you might be able to attract people, but you're not going to keep them very long with that. So
yeah. If your goal is to put in 30 hours in a 24-hour day, it's a great way to run a company. Otherwise, I would say it is a terrible system. And so we encourage our people to make improvements, to find new ways to do things. We do it with some guardrails because obviously we have expectations on them, and that's usually what expectations are. I think every leader knows that. But in order to build that culture of continuous improvement, it's really important to sort of continually ask yourself and your team three simple questions. What's working, what's not working, and what should we be doing differently? And if you want to throw in a little extra spice, ask them what we've learned in the time since the last time that we've asked that, because that should be a big component of this. Continuous improvement comes from continuous learning. And if you're not looking at things critically and from a high level across your company, you're gonna miss some things. Things will fall through the cracks, and the product won't be as good as it could be.
So talk about this for everybody out there, Pat. How often do we do this with our production team?
Well, so we run everything on a week-to-week basis. So we have a weekly retrospective where we review what worked for us that week, what didn't work, what we want to try to do differently going forward, and from those things that we learned and we say we're going to do differently, we set weekly goals for ourselves. I know companies that work on sort of a 2-week basis. I would say if you're only looking at it once a month, depending on your business, that's probably not often enough. But there is a sweet spot. 1 week may be too often. 1 month may not be often enough. But somewhere in there is the sweet spot for everybody.
And we're talking about this from the perspective of production, but we're big believers, and the same thing with that methodology that Pat talked about, using it for all departments. Weekly sales meetings. You should be having weekly sales meetings. Run through those questions with those folks. I love the fourth question too. What'd you learn this week? But whether production staff, marketing people, sales people, whatever the case may be, I would run everybody through this. And it's not something that's an entire hour-long meeting. It's just tagging on a couple simple questions is a good place to start on those kind of already stand-up meetings that you should be having. And for those folks that are watching it that only have a small team, that's fine. For people who are kind of solopreneurs and all this stuff, I would encourage you to journal and start putting this stuff down for yourself and asking yourself those questions. If you're a department of one, you'll be surprised about just going through this routine, what kind of gets sussed out at the end of it.
Yeah, when it's everybody's responsibility to make the company and the product better, you have to have some way to hold everyone accountable to doing that. And this is a really simple framework to do that. And it pays dividends because when you sort of look at what you've done critically and you figure out ways that it could be done better, you move forward a lot faster than if you just sort of continue to plod along.
Well, and what we've seen since we've started really being deliberate about this process too is, you start to create that sense of ownership for those employees. It's an empowerment method to get them to think critically, not only about their role, but the systems that you've put in place in order to help them facilitate and do that role, which is important. Oftentimes, once we started this, we found out that the best ideas for improvement didn't come from us. It came from the folks that were on that kind of factory line, that were on that assembly line every single day.
Yeah, I mean, because the truth is, there's only so much information that a single person can absorb, and you have to be able to tap into that hive mind, because the things that Jordan reads and the videos that he watches and the thought leaders that he follows are different than mine, and mine are certainly different from the person who's in charge of our help desk or an account coordinator that's very early in their career. But being able to bring all of those viewpoints together in the melting pot and sort of see what works best through an iterative process is really, really powerful and produces results really, really quickly.
Yeah, I love that. So again, the 4 questions, right? And we'll you guys will see this in text too, but ask them what's working, what's not working, what should we do differently? And then I love that 4th one too, which is what did you learn since the last time we talked? What did you learn that's new? Or just leave it open-ended like that. What did you learn? So 4 questions. I think you start to ask those to yourself and to your people. It's going to pay dividends and you're going to be really surprised with the answers. All right, Pat, I love that. Those are great tips. As always, like, comment, share. Let us know if there's questions along these same lines that you ask your people. If you've been doing this, let us know what your thoughts on it. If you haven't done it and you're going to try it for the next couple of weeks, reach out to us. Let us know if you're seeing any difference with just the small change of asking these questions at the end of each one of your stand-up or kind of all hands meetings. Like, comment, share. We'll see you next time. Pat, as always, thanks and peace, peeps.